Hi, welcome back to our last lesson in the 10 surprises you need to know about stuttering. I've got two surprises left to give you. Well, we have learned so far that people who stutter produce speech in a different way than people who don't stutter. And there are very many variations. But the bottom line is that there are differences, and we know this to be true. There are differences in that show up in brain mapping, and of course, differences that we see so clearly in the clinic, and that the person who stutters feels. And that is really important. Because when a person who stutters starts using the same processes used by normally fluent speakers, they feel entirely different. It's not just that their speech is no longer stuttered. So, once we know what the differences are, then we can do something to treat them. However, treating people who stutter and for people who stutter to help themselves. It isn't just, I'm going to learn a trick or I'm going to do some technique like gentle onsets or taking a deep breath or all of the stuttering modification techniques, fluency shaping techniques, and whatnot. It's much more complex than that. However, it is really doable. And when we understand the complexity, then we know where to go and the path is clear. I want to explain here today what some of the problems are that people face when they want to change the way that they are speaking. In order to change stuttering, each person has to reprogram their system that has been created with what I call pain. And pain stands for perception, attention, intention, and neurological processing. So let's see what we mean by each of these. Well, perception is seeing speaking as an effortful thing instead of the common effortless thing that it is really for people who don't stutter. So what people who stutter do is see stuttering as a need to control. And that is the ninth surprise that I have for you. People who stutter try to control their speech. And so many people say that we have to help our people who stutter, clinicians say, we have to help people who stutter learn speech controls. But I see it totally differently. Instead of learning speech controls, we have to learn how not to control speech. And this is the most important difference. And it's surprising. So learning how to overcome stuttering is more learning how to subtract, to get rid of the controls, to let go. And that is a really big part of what perception involves. So if we believe that speaking is a difficult thing to do, what we do is put our attention where it should not be. And as we learned in this course, attention should be only on the thought that you want to get across to your listener, not the details, not the words, not the speech sounds, not the grammar, and not the word order, not even the intonation. We can't think about all these things. So attention has to change. We have to change perception, start seeing speaking as something you can do, something that is within your ability to do, and start seeing that you have the basic abilities to do it. And then you won't put your attention on trying to control speaking. Well, when your attention is faulty, it causes problems with intent because you've put your attention on the words, you've put your attention on how am I going to speak. So what is your intent? Okay, yeah, you know. Yeah, I'm sure by now you do. Your intent is to try to get the words out. Oh, we know that trying to get the words out is the thing you don't want to do if you want to be speaking fluently. So instead of intent being on trying to get the words out, intent should be on just letting your voice vibrate to express your inner thoughts without all of the other things going on. Intent can change. And you just have to let go in order for your intent to be what it should be in order to speak fluently. And this all leads to the neurological process. Now, as we said, we don't know if the processing is different because of some structural differences in the brain, because of just the way speech developed, because maybe there were some difficulties in learning to produce speech. And so the person started to use a process that isn't really the natural process for speaking. But we know the network is affected by perceptions, attention, and intent. And we also know that that the neurological processing causes you to have faulty perceptions, attention, and intent. So it works both ways. And that brings me to something that is your last surprise that you're going to get in this course. Although there are so many things about stuttering that I would love to pass on to you. But I don't want to put too much on you at one time. I think these 10 surprises are what you need to know right now to understand this whole stuttering thing more clearly. And what I want to tell you for the last surprise is that although we believe that anxiety causes stuttering, and it does, anxiety will put your intent in the wrong place. But neurological processing, when it isn't correct, also causes anxiety. So sometimes people say, well, I only stutter when I'm anxious. But guys, you can hardly help but being anxious when your neurological processing isn't functioning in the effortless way that it's meant to function. It makes you feel anxious. I always think of the analogy of driving in a car and you sense something isn't right and you don't know how to fix cars. You're not a mechanic. You have to get someplace. You really want to get there, but you don't know if you're really going to make it. So you start to feel anxious. That's part of where the anxiety comes from. You don't know if you're going to be able to say it or not. So it's natural to feel anxious. But also, we have overload on our system, and the overload in your brain puts pressure on your brain. I know how to do all of the processes incorrectly, the way people who stutter do. And when I do them purposefully, and I'm not a person who normally stutters, but when I do them, I feel the pressure. And I want to tell you, I once did a research project, and I asked people who don't stutter to do these specific little things like think of the words or scan ahead. And then I asked them just silently produce speech. Just talk without your voice, or just make your voice without your mouth. And I asked them what they felt when they were doing this. And they gave me all of the same adjectives that my clients give me about how they feel when they're speaking. So if you feel anxious, it's not necessarily that you're an anxious person. It is a natural feeling that comes when you are putting overload on your system. So that was my surprise, and I think that it's a really important one to understand. Given that stuttering is created by pain, perceptions, attention, intention, and neurological processing, we know that we can change it by changing these things. Now, some people do not want to change their pain. They don't want to change it because maybe they just don't believe that it is at all possible. And I get that. I know so many people have been through so many therapies and trying, and it hasn't helped. And so and instead of helping, it might have even added to the pain. However, sometimes people have just had it and they don't want to try anything else. So what they do is try to manage it and learn to live with stuttering. And that's totally legitimate. I get that. There's also another option, though. You can learn to change the pain, but only by doing something like taking a pill. You're not getting to the root of the problem. So that's what a lot of the techniques that we know do. They might help you not to stutter, but as we said, non-stuttered speech isn't necessarily naturally flowing speech. So that is another option. And the third option is to get to the root of stuttering, to really change your perceptions, how you see stuttering, how you see yourself, what you're willing to do. It does mean getting out of your comfort zone. But we're not going to get anywhere if we stay in a safe place. For those of you who are interested in getting to the root of the problem, I'm sure you want to know how to do this. Well, over the past 3 decades, I've been helping my clients to do just that. Through the years, I've observed their pain, and I put together a way that works best to change it. I've learned what is helpful and what is harmful, what is simply a waste of time and effort for my clients to participate in. So the goal has always been to make change easy and as comfortable as possible. In 2007, I published my therapy approach under the name Dynamic Stuttering Therapy Workbook. This is a workbook chock full of activities, and each activity is designed to be a step toward speaking naturally. Together, all the activities help the speaker to change the way they think, feel, and produce speech. And so many of my clients have told me how much sense this therapy approach makes to them. Actually, they tell me they don't understand why this isn't being done everywhere, because it just does make sense. And it has allowed so many of them to speak with comfort and confidence. I could tell you so many stories of clients who have been through therapy and have made changes. I'll tell you one story. There's Sam. He was 17 years old when he came to me for therapy. A really bright boy with such a good future ahead of him. But he was rejected from being able to be inducted into the Army, and he was not able to really communicate with other people because his stuttering was so severe. He came for therapy and he worked on all of these things, not just learning a trick or a technique, but he worked through all of his perceptions and what he was doing. It took him, I'd say, about 6 to 8 months before he really got it, and came back to me 10 years later. I opened the door, I saw this big bouquet of flowers, and it was from Sam. He said, "Thank you for 10 years of being able to speak fluently." It was the anniversary, 10 years since he completed therapy. And then there's Aaron, who was 16 years old, stuttered so severely. He really had he had many secondaries besides the stuttering itself, and came back to me about 10 years later. No, maybe it was more than that. I'm not sure how many, with his brother who also stuttered. I asked him what he was doing, and he was the principal of a school. He was not stuttering at all. So there are many people. I have second generation. Just next week, I'm going to be seeing a child of a client who stuttered when he came to me. He said it was 20 years ago. I don't remember exactly how many. He is now a doctor, and his son, who is 11 years old now, is coming to me for an evaluation. So I have lots of clients who I hear about long after therapy is over. This isn't just, I'll be fluent in the therapy room. This is for life. But it does require going through a process. It's not magic. It's not, I'm going to give you a trick. I'll give you a technique. No. This is real change. So if you want to have an experience similar to the therapy experience that these clients had, I have some really exciting news for all of you. I will be offering a special self-exploratory course that includes everything that is in dynamic stuttering therapy. But this course will take you on a pathway to helping yourself to speak freely. You will have my guidance, and you will be part of a community of people like yourself who want to transform their effortful speaking into their ability to speak with whomever they want, wherever they want, with ease, comfort, and confidence. So, all you need to do to be part of this Freedom from Stuttering experience is to click on the link, and I will let you know when the course is going to begin. And when you join, you will receive all of the modules in this course, and they will take you from the beginning through from understanding to making changes, to knowing how to practice, to practicing in various situations. Throughout, we will have activities that relate to your perceptions, your beliefs, your feelings, and the neurological process of speaking. I'll show you everything that you need to know to help yourself to make changes. And I have to say that self-help has one great advantage over therapy. You're not going to be relying on, okay, next week I'm going to my clinician. You're going to know that it is you that is doing it. And you can do it at your own pace, your own convenience. When you sign up for this program, you will have these activities for life. It'll be yours. So, if you go slowly, if you don't have as much time to practice, if you just want to begin to understand, but you're not ready to make all of the changes, you'll have it, and you can do it at any time that you so choose. I have to tell you that if you go through all of the modules and you really do all of the work, you are going to experience speaking in a way you have never experienced it before. You will be confident. You will feel the ease. You will know that it is within you to let your expression flow. And speaking will be what it's meant to be. Just an everyday activity. So, I hope to see you in Freedom from Stuttering, and thank you all. I have been honored to be here with you, to be able to explain everything that really is so misunderstood. And I hope that you enjoyed learning these surprises as much as I enjoyed telling them to you. So, thanks so much. Bye for now.